Standing on the top step of the podium at the season-ending Abu Dhabi Grand Prix last December, Lando Norris will have had mixed feelings. On the one hand, he'd played a huge part in winning McLaren's first team trophy since 1998. He'd secured 4 Grand Prix wins and a number of additional podiums, and had run the dominant Drivers' Champion of the previous season close. But on the other hand, he would have been thinking what could have been. The pure elation of an incredible team season would have been tainted by what-ifs. What if he'd made it out of Q1 in Baku? What if he hadn't tangled with Verstappen in Austria? What if he hadn't lost first lap leads over and over again? Coming into 2025, there are a lot of questions over Lando Norris. Clearly, he's an incredibly talented driver, but when he has a car that is worthy of a Drivers' Championship, can he convert it? Today, I'll check out the McLaren car's competitive edge and talk about the building pressure on Lando Norris. So don't go anywhere. We're here, it's race week, and the 2025 F1 season will kick off in Albert Park on what could be a rather wet Sunday, adding an extra element of edge to what is already one of the most highly anticipated F1 seasons for years. Last season saw 7 drivers and 4 teams take multiple wins for the first time in F1 history. In terms of spread of competitiveness, it was probably the best F1 season in history, and this year is expected to be even better. The performance of the grid is converging quickly. In qualifying in 2024, it became common to see one or more of the midfield knocking one of the top 4 out early in qualifying, which created some incredible grid orders. That convergence will increase even more this season. After pre-season testing, it looks tight at the top. Who's been sandbagging? Who has more to offer? Who actually tested at 100% performance? It's so hard to call. If there was anything to be won in pre-season testing, it would have gone to McLaren. All the pseudoscience analysis of performance, with all the usual caveats, put them top of the pack, especially in the long runs. That pseudoscience includes a very heavy weighting on the eye test, a notoriously fickle way of trying to determine F1 competitiveness. Who could forget the piles of praise that Mercedes were drowned in after revealing their zero-pod design in 2022? How wrong we all were. In Bahrain this year, though, McLaren worked through their program diligently, solved anything that proved a problem quickly, and despite being a little hard to handle at times, were very fast. All the best F1 cars are a little tough to control though. After all, if it was easy, we'd all be F1 champions. The reigning world champions had one big target for the year, and that was to start the season off in the fight. For a few seasons now, they've been slow to awaken from their winter slumber. In 2023, some terminal brake issues saw them start as the slowest team on the grid. A slow start last year ultimately ended their Drivers' Championship hopes before things really got going. This year, though, they seem to have set their alarms earlier and got themselves sorted out. They are fastest in the qualifying simulations and the best of all in the long runs. The team appear to have a very good understanding of their car already, and can see there's more potential too. Last year's runner-up Lando Norris and teammate Oscar Piastri were complimentary as well. You only had to look at their body language to know they feel they have a good car under their belt. They are the favourites going to Australia, and their competition agrees. Before testing, everyone would have predicted Red Bull to be the team to beat yet again. They got on top of their problems towards the end of last season, or at least seemed to work out how to solve them. A winter of work should have solved the undrivable car issue. Yet, that hasn't happened. Red Bull's motorsport advisor Dr. Helmut Marko admitted that the RB21 is more predictable and responsive than its predecessor, but it still isn't the car the team wanted to start the season with. I'm not disappointed with the RB21, but it would have been nice if our adaptations and innovations had worked right away. The car is more predictable. It reacts to changes in trim as it should. There's no longer the unpredictability that characterized much of 2024. Some new things didn't work, and this means we still have room for improvement. Marko expects McLaren to carry over its competitive advantage into the upcoming season, estimating that the reigning world champion outfit will enjoy a gap of 2 to 3 tenths of a second per lap, which is mainly due to better tyre degradation. We still have 2 to 3 tenths to be at the level of McLaren, which has had a much better degradation than ours in terms of tyres, concluded Marko. Before I talk about the expectation on Norris and what could hold him back this year, if you're enjoying the video and want to catch all the news and analysis of the upcoming F1 season, then make sure to press the like button and subscribe to F1 Reverse. Thanks a lot. No one could say that Norris lost the Drivers' Championship last season. He was never ahead of Verstappen. In fact, it was never really that close. Of course, there were missed chances. The mythical schooling Norris received from the 4-time world champion in Brazil, was the starkest of all the reminders that beating Verstappen will require more than the fastest car on the grid. Verstappen won't make the mistakes that any other driver might. If you want to beat him, then you have to match his perfection. It's something Ferrari and Sebastian Vettel regularly failed to do when fighting Mercedes and Hamilton during the 2010s. However, McLaren are giving Norris the best possible platform to take the fight to his Dutch friend. Lando is the bookies' favourite for the World Championship, and they have the most to lose if that prediction turns out to be wrong. He won 4 races in 2024, but that worked out at a 50% conversion rate from 8 pole positions. His issues on lap 1 have been well documented. Including sprint races, he's failed to start lap 2 in the lead on 9 occasions from 11 F1 pole positions. It's something that Charles Leclerc struggled with when trying to battle Verstappen as well, and that record raises questions over his mentality. Is he hungry enough to get his elbows out and battle all race, right from lap 1? A number of those lost first lap leads were to his own teammate. Who could forget the team orders fiasco in Hungary, when Norris losing his first lap lead to Piastri cost him the race win due to team orders? It is his teammate that Norris will have to be most worried about, assuming McLaren do have the performance advantage that many people think they do. Piastri is no second driver. He showed time and again in 2024 that he has what it takes to find success in F1. Whether it was a first lap battle or his mistake-free final stint in Baku, he proved that he can go and get wins. Norris and Piastri start on a clean slate according to the Australian this year. Yet history shows us that teams rarely win titles with 2 number 1 drivers. They bicker, they clash, and they take points off each other. Intra-team battles almost always boil over and end in misery. Hamilton versus Rosberg was incredibly messy, and if they hadn't had a car that was in a different class to the rest of the grid, it may have been costly. Lando has the experience over Piastri, but he cannot be written off. If Lando allows his teammate to gain an early lead, McLaren will eventually have to make the call to favour Piastri, an eventuality that the Brits cannot allow. Speaking of Hamilton, can Ferrari offer some competition? They tried to fight Verstappen in 2022, but Leclerc's mistakes and Ferrari's strategy proved to be too great a challenge to overcome. Under Fred Vasseur, Ferrari looked to be changing. The frailty of the team is washing away. The weight of history looks a little lighter. They look like a team capable of getting out of their own way. Of course, that's easier said than done when Ferrari are involved. After testing, they look like McLaren's greatest competition. Leclerc and Hamilton are an intimidating lineup, and if Hamilton refines his younger years, they are the strongest pairing on the grid. If Netflix were writing their dream script for the season, Hamilton would take the title. But lads, it's Ferrari. They're only one bad pit stop away from a crisis. Finally, there are Red Bull's complaints about McLaren's car. Having spotted some flexibility in McLaren and Ferrari's wings at pre-season testing, Red Bull have lodged an official and accusatory file with the FIA. The file held enough substance that the FIA are visiting the McLaren factory to make sure that the grey areas of the rules are not being exploited in a way the rules don't allow. There are new tests in place for this weekend's Grand Prix, and stricter rules will come in at the Spanish Grand Prix at the start of June. Could that be the thing that trips up the masters of the flexible wing? There is a growing consensus that this is Norris's time. With new technical rules coming in 2026, this could be the best opportunity he ever has to claim a driver's title. Can he shed the weight of expectation and rise to become an F1 champion? Or will the pressure, or Piastri, or Ferrari get in his way? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and until next time, drive safe and bye for now.